What's going on, guys? Another beautiful day here in Greenville, South Carolina. You can see we're starting to get ready for Christmas. Christmas is just around the corner. I love this time of year, but I got a project going on today. So let's go check it out. Come on, come on. I'm super excited because for today's video, today's project, we're gonna talk about the best way to fold laundry. This is super important for everybody to know to keep your wife and your girlfriend happy. Let's talk about the best ways to do that. Obviously, I'm just kidding. Let's go to the garage. So here we are in the garage. I did fold that laundry and I did put that laundry away, and you know why? Because I'm winning at life and my wife is awesome. And when she has to work today and I get to work from home, I'm gonna do what I can to help out because I love it when she comes home and she smiles and she's happy. It makes for an excellent night. And we're going into the holiday, the Thanksgiving tomorrow, the Thanksgiving holiday. So, you know, we're getting started off on the right foot. But as I said, we're here in the garage. We got a project going on. Let's talk about it. So there's a couple videos that you should check out if you haven't already. Number one was the application of the ViVivid Vinyl Dark Smoke Taillight Tint. Check it out. Link floating above right now. The next video that you should check out is the VHT Night Shades Rattle Can Taillight Tint Old School application video. Bam, right there. And check that link out above as well. And then the third and final video, not the final video, but the third video you should check out related to this project is the removal process of that ViVivid Vinyl taillight tint, which we remove from this light right here. Comes off really well, leaves very, very little residue. It came off easy as it was, but you add a little heat to it with a heat gun and it peels right off. Super good stuff. But the project I got going on today is, if you've watched those other videos, you'll know that I actually preferred the look of the VHT Night Shades Rattle Can Spray Taillight Tint over the vinyl. So what I wanted to do is get these lights to match on both sides. So I remove the vinyl, and we're gonna prep the surface. Here's another video you should check out. Well, no, I already told you to check it out, the application process. So go ahead and take a look at that. And what we're gonna do is wet sand both of these because the VHT has been on the corner lights for quite some time. And we wanna open that back up, give it a little bit of teeth for that VHT to grab onto. So we're gonna wet sand it with 1000 grit sandpaper. I'm gonna add 2 coats to this uncoated light or lens to get it even with the corner lights. When those are dry, I'll hit them both with a 3rd coat, and hopefully it should be evened out and dark enough. And then we're gonna wet sand that again with 1000 grit after it dries for a couple of hours. And we're gonna hit it with some Duplicolor Clear High Gloss. Probably 4 or 5 coats of that. Let that cure for a couple of hours, and then we will wet sand that with 1000 grit sandpaper, get it all nice and smooth, and then hit it with a polishing wheel with some Meguiar's polish to get it nice and shiny, make it look like OEM. So that's the goal. I'm not going to do step by step. I'll show, you know, some in between stuff since I already have that application process video in regards to the VHT. I'll put a link in the description below for both the clear as well as the VHT. So check those out as well. All right, let's get going. All right, we got both sides wet sanded. Makes it just a bit hazy. We're not going crazy. Again, 1000 grit sandpaper. It's just to give the lens a little bit of teeth for that VHT to grab onto. And again, because this side was done a few months ago and it's cured fully, we wanted to just open it up a little bit. A couple of tips while we're at it. Mask it off. Obviously you want to mask it off and paper it off anyway when you're going to spray, but make sure it's masked you know, really well before you do any of the wet sanding. You want to protect your paint. Another thing is don't go crazy sanding it. You don't want to ruin your taillights. The 1000 grit is pretty fine, so I'd be able to polish these back to stock form anyway, but you don't want to leave any lines. So you could probably get away with 800 grit sandpaper. I think I've seen a few guys do 600, but I would just stick with 1,000. It's easy enough to use. Now what we're gonna do is clean these off with a microfiber towel and then hit them with microfiber towel and some rubbing alcohol. Get all the contaminants off and make sure all the grease and everything is cleared off as well. And then we will fully mask it off so we don't get any overspray on the corner lenses, and we'll get 2 full coats on these deck lid lenses, and we should be good to go. So let's get that done and get the whole area masked off so we're protected from overspray. All right, we got it pretty well masked off. I'm gonna hit this corner here and we'll get it, start spraying. We'll start spraying it. But I think we're pretty well protected. I might protect the bumper a little bit more there. All right, here we go. Just one more tip for doing this. So it is a little bit colder. I'd say it's about 60 degrees here in South Carolina. We're in the garage, so it's maybe a little bit warmer in here. I'm going to have a space heater going to warm it up a bit more. But good practice anyway is to let your rattle can rest in some hot water while you're doing these preparations. One issue with spray paint is that the pressure coming out of the can is not sufficient enough to really let the paint or push the paint onto the surface, no matter what you're painting. So it doesn't lay down as nice, and that's one of the reasons why spray paint rattle cans do not get you as good of a result that you would like in most cases. So putting it in hot water builds the pressure up inside of the can and will help it come out with a bit more force as you spray it on the surface that you're trying to paint. So just a little tip there. Because it is a little cooler today, I went ahead and did that with the clear. So hopefully that's helpful. Especially when the temperatures have been quite cold, and I'm sure like most people, we all keep our paints and things of that nature out in the garage. So when it gets cold at night, the product inside the can gets cold as well, and it loses viscosity. It gets thicker, obviously, because it's cold. So it's a good idea to warm it up with some warm water. Here we go. Okay, so I got 2 coats on the 2 deck lid lights, and they are on par with the corner lights. They look pretty good. It's 2 coats on each side, and now obviously remember we wet sanded this as well to give it some teeth so that VHT can adhere properly. Now I will say, I know my personality, and I've said it before, I can't leave well enough alone, so I know it's going to be tempting to go extra slow and really coat this corner light good on the 3rd coat and kind of neglect this one just because we've dulled this out, and I want to make sure it's glossy. Even though I know we're going to wet sand it and put clear on it, I just have to tell myself, don't worry about it. Put it on nice and even, a 3rd coat across the whole assembly here on both sides, and it'll look good. Okay, so we have 3 coats on the corners and the deck lid taillights, and I've come to a conclusion. I've made a decision. I'm going to mix up the plan just a little bit. I think I'm going to go for a 4th coat, considering we're going to do a little wet sanding. So we're going to knock that 4th coat down a little bit, and I still want it to be nice and dark. So we're going to go for a quick 4th coat, and also to even things out. I don't know if it's showing up on the camera here. It's a little spotty here, or dry, and that's probably my fault. But just to make sure that these are both equally as dark and have a nice even color across the whole, both lenses, we're going to go for that 4th coat, and then we will wet sand with 1000 grit sandpaper, and then we're going to do about 6 coats of clear. I like 6, going to give it a nice glossy look, but when you wet sand, you're going to knock a lot of that down. So you want to, because the rattle can clear does not go on as heavy as say a regular clear coat at like an auto body shop, you have to do about 6 coats. That's probably equal to 2 or 3 clear coats of clear at a body shop. So something to consider. We're gonna knock that down with 1000 grit sandpaper, and then we will polish it to bring it to a nice sheen. Those are the steps. Let's finish up. I'm probably not going to talk much more, so thanks for following along. Make sure you like and subscribe. Stay tuned. A lot of things coming up. I appreciate you watching. See you next time. The VHT 4 coats actually laid down really nice. Turned out pretty good. Not a whole lot of orange peel situation going on, so I'm going to forego the wet sanding of the color and just go right ahead with the 6 coats of clear. I don't find it necessary to do any wet sanding on the tint itself. It's just kind of an unnecessary step at this point. If you did get some blotchiness or some speckling or orange peely look to it, you can certainly go ahead and wet sand it with 1000 grit, but again, not necessary in this case, so we're going to go ahead and do the 6 coats of clear. Let's do it. All right, about 6 coats of clear on. Looks pretty glossy. I'm going to take the paper off. We do still need to wet sand with 1000 grit sandpaper. Maybe go 2000 grit sandpaper, just so it's really fine, and polish for final touch. But for now, looks pretty good.